by WSP, the cusp of being back to normal. And so we're gracious for WSP willing to host us and get the ball rolling back to in-person collaboration. My name is H.G. Chazelle, and I will be your host for today. As I mentioned, founder and CEO of Advanced Energy Group, we are a stakeholder mobilization platform that enables stakeholders like yourself across 4 cities to go from being engaged to mobilized on these critical issues so that cities can achieve their goals on decarbonization, equity, and resilience. The thing that I keep coming back to is the hard fact in my mind that systemic change, which is what's bringing us together essentially today, is not going to happen without guided collaboration. It just won't occur. If you look at what we're trying to do from a systemic level, systems of systems, trying to completely realign them, transform them, if we don't have extraordinary collaboration, that cannot happen. And then when you put timelines on the necessity to achieve this transformation happening in 10, 15, 20 years, that is just a recipe for failure without extraordinary collaboration. And so I want to thank all of the sponsors that appreciate that perspective I have, who've gotten behind me across 4 cities in the Caribbean to develop this type of programming that we'll have today. They're an extraordinary group of sponsors that some support every city we're in. We're in 4 cities in the U.S. So we're in Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York, and Boston. Annually, we run this in the Caribbean with the Island Resilience Action Challenge. And it's just been extraordinary to get the support and feedback from these sponsors on how to develop a program that's most worth your time. Because ultimately, it's a leadership challenge, right? This is our personal leadership challenge to go from where we see the crisis is in terms of its threat, its importance, and where we are in terms of actual action. That gap is the leadership gap. And the hope and focus is to create forums like this that can bridge it. And we found the way to do this, having done this quarterly now since started in 2014 in Chicago, doing this quarterly in force in 2016. I've learned that making it a competition is essential. You all are extraordinary problem solvers, but to focus your efforts and thoughts, we need a little bit of competition to help us do that. It's important to get a sense of how it feels to play to win at what matters most. And that's our motivation and intention for what we do with AEG. So thanks again to all the sponsors who support me in this journey. It's been exciting. For today, let me go through some announcements. Welcome, Phyllis. We have a table over here, table 5 or 6. This is Phyllis Kessler. She's coming in. I want to just acknowledge her. She was instrumental in getting this off in New York City, providing Dwayne Morris's offices for us to do these stakeholder challenges early on. So announcements. We have Slido, which I see many of you are using, which is perfect. If you're an AEG sponsor, we do have this incredible app that makes it very easy to get to all our stakeholder challenges across our 4 cities. This is number 2. 2 weeks we're in Chicago, and then after that we're in Boston. And then finally, just to keep on your radar, the fact that for Q1 we cover critical infrastructure, equity, and resilience. And we're going to bring all 4 cities together in Puerto Rico and San Juan in conjunction with the mayor's office of San Juan and the governor there to run a thought summit convening all 4 cities on critical infrastructure, equity, and resilience. I plan to bring in the heads of the water, heads of hospitals, to connect the dots among leaders here with what's happening in Puerto Rico. So I hope you'll keep that on your radar. So today, to run through our agenda very quickly, don't get too worried about the timing. I'm keeping track of that. That's my job, on-time arrivals and departures. We're going to have opening remarks from Sophia Berger. She's the Senior Vice President and National Business Line Lead for Transportation for WSP. And then we're going to get into our speaker challenge, where each of our speakers have 8 minutes and roughly 5 slides to present to you what they feel regarding mobility and transportation is a critical obstacle that must be overcome collaboratively so that New York can achieve its carbon and equity goals. And you will be able to respond and vote on how to prioritize those. Once we get through that, we're going to hear from task forces that are actually working on these challenges right now. If you're on a task force right now, would you please raise your hand? All right, so we have several in the room on task forces. This year already, we have over 200 leaders across these 4 cities in the Caribbean on task forces trying to overcome these obstacles in 12 months or less. And then we'll get to our breakout session where you'll work on your 12-month solutions together. We'll figure out who wants to join the task force, if at all, for this session. And then we'll have some time for networking. So that's the plan for today. It's a jam-packed agenda. And I just want to get excited to get started. Thanks again to our sponsors for making this possible, WSP. Thank you for the space. Let's jump in with opening remarks. So